So now we would like to move to our next speaker. And very good friend of mine, Jorge Patrono, does a lot of research on HRV. He does a lot of research on structured water. And he's here to share with us about the work that he's done. And he's very popular in the Spanish community and does a lot of work with Bruce Lipton. So further ado, please welcome Jorge Patrono.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Rubik, was amazing. What you said today is really inspiring. I met you a long time ago in the BioWell courses everywhere. So my mission is to bring this information to the Spanish-speaking people all over the world. I don't see. Wait a minute. Nima, do you have the presentation?
It's up there right now. Your name.
I don't have it here. What I'm going to introduce is the practical use of a couple of these technologies. What happens in the day-to-day when you have clients. My experience is maybe 500 clients in 10 years using BioWell, HeartMath, and structured water. Also earthing, which is, as Dr. Rubik mentioned, very important for the EMF frequencies in the body. Talking about the computer, that we work a lot with computers, and the keyboards that are wireless, I agree completely. We need cables for everything. I'm using a pad that is from earthing.com, where you have a plug and it goes into the ground on the wall. So the mouse is on top of that pad. So every time the frequencies come to me, they go straight to the earth. So you can use that all the time and you don't have, all those frequencies in your body stored. So can I access? Oh, okay. What do I, okay. Again, the same problem. I don't know what's happening.
You get too much energy.
No, this one disconnects.
Oh yeah, this TV is going out.
Yeah. I don't know why. Which one do I have to press?
I told them you had a lot of energy. They didn't believe me.
Do I have to press this one? Just the...
No, actually, you don't use this one. Just use this one.
Ah, my fault. Nobody told me. Okay. Now this is the one. The green button. Yeah, of course. So it's the green button that I have to press. Okay.
Yes.
Nobody told me that. Okay.
Still not coming out.
No, it's still. Okay, now let me see if I can see. Okay, good. Okay, that's Coraco with me. We went to Argentina. We did this presentation for the first time. It was amazing. A lot of, it was for health professionals. It was not for the general public. And everybody was crying at the end. They couldn't believe that there was so much information about something related to energy. We see the body. The body is everything that we think about. It's a solid thing. It's so interesting because actually we can touch it. We see it everywhere, but there's so much information behind that we have no clue, and now we have some ideas about this. So in this case, I'm talking about the influence of the environment, the influence of the heart-brain coherence, the influence of water. Water is essential, and we are going to see that, and I think Krishna Madhapa is going to talk also about structured water. So BioWell, you know already what it is. This is the 3.0, the new one. It changed the technology a lot from 30 pixels to 300 pixels of images. So it's much deeper. It has a lot of information now that we didn't have before. It's a revolutionary tool base in electrophotonic imaging. what we use this is before and after any protocol. It could be anything. It could be medicine. It could be, you were talking about Reiki. We can talk about earthing. We can talk about anything that you do, with a client. For example, I use it with clients that are doing, they have chemotherapy and radiation before and after the sessions. We can see the problems in the liver, first of all. Main problems in the liver because it gets congested after the session and they need support. So that's a good thing when you can work. Some doctors allow you to work with them, especially oncologists that are more open-minded, and they said, okay, just measure this and, tell me the results. And I can send the image and I can say, well, this is what I see, and they try to support that organ first than anything else. The other thing that we can see is chemo brain. The chemo brain, you can see with a lot of cuts in the head, and, they can support the patient, on that area as well. So it's a good tool for them too. Not all of them want to use this. They believe that this is not, for some of them, they believe that it's not a science and it's a woo-woo thing because of the repeatable thing, and that was Dr. Rubin talking about. They want to see 1 + 1 = 2, and this is not like that because this is moving all the time. So BioWell is always, when we think about BioWell is taking a picture of a river. In a river, you can have sometimes just water, sometimes a fish, sometimes a rock, sometimes a piece of wood, sometimes nothing. So in BioWell, we need 4 measurements so we can compare. And out of those 4, we understand exactly the repeatable things that we can see. Just one measurement is not enough because actually it's moving all the time. So if I measure somebody and suddenly it receives a phone call and somebody died, we are going to see that in the chakra system immediately, okay? So that's not the real state of that person. It's something that happened at that moment, and it's changing over time. So depending on when the person comes to the visit and when, the things that are happening to that person, that day, the energy changes immediately. Now, the result is how long is that state, the experience of that person? If it's a week, a month, a year, a day, an hour, so that is the level of homeostasis that we are going to see. I mean, the person will show different problems. And one of the things that we have to understand, any disease, especially when we talk about cancer, the tumors, they take around 7 years to show up as a physical thing. Before that, it was energy. Energy that we can see in flares or missing energy or different ways. And so we can prevent if we see the subtle before the gross. Because the gross is just the end of the whole process. Before that, we have a lot of information that we can use. Now, allopathic medicine don't like that too much, So the other thing is, if we understand that, the cause is more energetic, vibrational than physical. And if we go only for the effect, which is what it shows up physically, we are not touching the cause. If we don't touch the cause, it comes back. And every time it comes back, it's worse than before. We can see that in cancer, Every time they do something about a tumor or something that happens with a client, it's a remission. 5 years later, is worse than before. Now, the cause, nobody touched the cause, and that's the main problem with that. So we are talking about cause now. The moment that we change the cause, the effect is going to change. That's for sure. So the second tool that I'm using is HeartMath. And HeartMath is an amazing tool. I've been using it for 10 years now, and I don't know, I've seen it here. I don't know how many of you use HeartMath. Do you know what HeartMath is? Okay, a couple of you. Okay. It would be better if all of you know that, because actually it's analyzing the relationship between the heart and the brain. Now, the heart it has information and the brain has information, but sometimes, and right now, most of the time, they are not coherent. Coherence means that both are working together. Now, if we go to I met Rolly McCready several years ago, and I interviewed him several times. He taught me a lot about this. And the coherence between the heart and the brain is essential. You can see this. This is a chart of incoherence. And you can see it is more like a sawtooth waveform. And it's very shallow sometimes, and it has peaks. So this is not a regular kind of heartbeat, okay? And this is incoherence. What does it mean, incoherence? Incoherence means that the person cannot really process information the right way. So when we are incoherent, let's say you are fighting with somebody or discussing something, and you get very, very frustrated with that, and then you have to make a decision about something. That's the worst time. It's the worst, because actually the heart and the brain are working completely separated. So you feel something, you think something else, and when you pronounce something, it's hurtful for yourself and for everybody else. So it's the worst time for you to make a decision to think about something and solve it. We never solve anything in incoherence way. Now, if we go into coherence, and this is the difference, and you can see it immediately. The sine wave is coherence. Now, the way I use this, because right now 90% of the people that I see is completely incoherent. I mean, since the COVID, people are completely afraid of everything, and afraid of dying, and afraid of a vaccine, afraid of everything. So when they come, and I try to go through a 15-minute reading with HeartMath, and it's a sensor that you put on the earlobe, and it goes into the computer, and you can see it in real time what's going on. In the beginning of the session, the first thing that you have to do is deep breathing. With deep breathing, the person comes down. We can see that in the chart. But the coherence is a different thing. So the first thing that I do is I put the person into the idea of something that is bothering the person at that time in their life, something that they have to solve. And I can see the level of stress on the screen. Now, after that, I try to change the mood of the person and go into unconditional love. If it's a parent, the moment they put the baby in their arms, if they have a puppy or a kitten, whatever, that will make the feeling of love. For some people, it's very difficult to go into that because life is difficult. So I try to direct people into that emotion. And then I can see a little change, not too much, because actually it's very difficult for people to go into that love, intense feeling. It's very difficult. So I finished the session with something that I learned in Kriya Yoga from Paramahansa Yogananda. In the school of Paramahansa Yogananda, to go into samadhi, which is the deep meditation, you have to do 38 exercises, energization exercises, and then you have to do an exercise called Hon So. Hon, like monks chanting in my head, Hon, mentally, without saying it, breathing with your belly, not with the upper part of the chest, just inhaling Hon and exhaling So, nothing else, and doing it very slowly. And then I can start seeing in the chart how it starts changing. And the waveform starts changing. And then if you see the green part is showing the level of coherence. If you see the upper part is going up to 4, almost 4. The lower part is going up to, I think it's 8 or 9. I don't see clear here. But that's the difference between incoherence, between the feeling that the person is feeling at that time, okay? So when they do the Hon So, one thing is happening. The frontal lobe that can do one thing at a time is occupied with the Hon So. So another thing happens with this. When the person, when I see in the screen something that is peaking very high, instead of being like that, something that goes out of the chart, that is showing me that there's another idea that is not Hon So. that something else came to that person at that moment. It could be anything, because actually that's in the subconscious mind, and for some reason, the person, and I asked the person at the end of the session, what was happening with you? What was the thought at this time in the session? And they say, oh yeah, my mother telling me that I was an idiot, or my teacher saying. I said, well, is that related to what we were doing? No. So now you know that there's something sabotaging yourself that is ingrained in the subconscious mind that jumps anytime because something is triggering. We don't know yet what it is, but now you know that is driving you, not yourself. And that's something that is very important to know. A lot of people, through heart math, they can shorten the psychoanalysis time a long, long time less than what it takes. I mean, I have friends that they've been in psychoanalysis for 30 years, and I say, what are you talking about right now? Is the same problem as 30 years ago, or you are always, analyzing the same thing? I mean, you have to go deeper than that and understand that those are ideas, nothing else. Once you know the idea, you can suppress that idea because you understand that it doesn't mean anything. Now, with heart math, that's very precise, okay? You can have that information. Now, the good thing about that is that if I start the session with BioWell, then I go into heart math, and then come back to BioWell, I can see that in the chakra charts. So the chakra is going to show me the emotional state of the person, and is 100% of the times better than when the session started. So that's an amazing tool for me, and I'm using it on myself every day. The way that I use it, well, I will talk about that later, about frequencies. Why is it important to be aware of our daily emotions and level of stress? Well, epigenetics is the number one reason why we need to know that. I mean, do you know Dr. Bruce Lipton, the biologist? He wrote a book, an amazing book, The Biology of Belief. I had the honor to translate that. I had the honor to go with Bruce, which is a good friend of mine, to Argentina as well as I did with Korokov. It was the first time in Latin America, in South America, and it was amazing. It was really amazing. He talks about two emotions. We know those emotions are also in the Course in Miracles. There are two opposite emotions, love and fear, okay? And those two emotions are completely different when we talk about chemical reactions in the body. Love creates health, actually. And you can see on the bottom of love, it says dopamine, oxytocin, vasopressin, and growth hormone. Those are, chemical reactions that we need to be healthy, okay? So health is also related to the main emotions that we feel every day. So we are in love, and there's another book from Bruce, the honeymoon effect, and he's talking about how his life changed when he met Margaret, his wife, and he said, "It's a honeymoon since then." And my life changed completely because actually I'm never sick. I'm always happy. I'm in love, and that's the chemical reaction that love brings into your body. Now, when you see fear, is talking about cortisol, norepinephrine, and cytokines and histamine. Those are not good for health. That doesn't mean that you don't need that. But for a short period of time, when you have those for a long period of time, it's bad for your health completely. I mean, it can destroy you. Cortisol, for example. One of the things that we were talking about with Bruce was when you see runners in the Olympics, and you see that they are with one knee on the floor and one foot on the platform, before they start running, and they are waiting for the shot, so they can start running, or for the alarm, whatever it is. If that alarm or that shot is late, one more minute, the person can die from a heart attack for the amount of cortisol that is there to start running. So the athlete has to use that cortisol. So in that moment, that cortisol, a lot of cortisol is essential, but for a short period of time. If you have that for an hour, you die. So the thing is, those things are good for you, but in the right dosage. Now, when somebody is in deep stress, those things are very high. And for how long? Well, if it's too long, we have different diseases. So that's cause. So one of the causes that we have to think about is, how do I feel today? Or how do I feel most of the time? I'm in love, I'm in fear, I'm stressed out, I have so many problems I cannot even think. Well, those are things related to health, okay? It's not just, the way that that you think, and it has nothing to do with your health. It's related to your health and also to your creative world. I mean, and we can talk about that later on when we talk about frequencies. The conference that we did in Argentina, Biology of Belief, is online as a 2.5 hours of an amazing conference, and Bruce was really. We did it only for scientists and doctors and psychologists, and they were and they asked him, why don't we learn this in school, in medical school? And he said, well, I cannot answer that, but it's a pity that we don't have that information, because actually a lot of the things that we are doing, they were saying, now we know they are wrong, and we shouldn't keep doing it. The next one is structured water. Well, this is a huge topic. I started with BioWell and structured water when my son was 19 years old and had an accident. And he was going downhill with a skateboard without a helmet, and he fell and hit the ground with the temporal, and he broke it in 4 parts. He lost the ability to walk and almost lost the English language. I'm from Argentina, so his main language is Spanish, but his real language is English, because he was born here. He lost English, so the doctors were asking me, your son speaks English? I said, he's American. And I said, well, he hit a part of the language, and he is remembering only the first language. The second one was pretty lost. So Konstantin told me, at that time I talked to him, and also Krishna Madhapa, I said, you have to buy a structural water unit, and you have to give it to your son, because it's going to accelerate the process of healing, which I did, and my son is perfectly well. He had a recovery that took maybe 6 months, but the doctors thought that some of the abilities that he had before were going to be lost. Nothing. He was a water polo player, was a captain of the team, and he was in an amazing shape. And I think that was also something that saved him, because he was, very strong. So that's how I started with this. And I saw it myself, the way it was improving, and the doctor was telling me, okay, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it, because he's healing fast, okay? Now, the structured water is essential. Why? Because it's a biological water. It's a water that creates life. It's the water that was originally in this planet that we are ruining every day. The thing is, do we have structured water naturally? Yes, in some places in the world. For example, Konstantin was studying the water in Roraima in Venezuela. He did a lot of studies, and you can see that online. And it's showing that water, which is natural water. You can drink it. You see the people that live there, they have amazing health. So yes, there are a couple of places in the world, the glaciers in South America, in Latin America, in Argentina at the south. Those are amazing glaciers with amazing water. Now, how can we have that in the city? And why do we need that? Well, structured water, as the name mentions, is structured, related to the porosity of the cell. The water that you have now with chlorine and different things that they put, and heavy metals and everything, creates a molecule that is bigger than the original water, and it bounces out of the cell. okay? So maybe 20% goes inside, and the rest you just go pee it. So the thing is, that's the first line of detoxification in the body. So if that first line is not going to detoxify the cell the way it should 80% of the time, what is it that you are doing to detoxify your body? Right now, we have so many toxins everywhere. In food, water, air, everything is polluted. So the body has to, cope with that filtration, with that detoxification that is not easy for the body to do it by itself. And a lot of people tell me, well, I drink coffee, tea, Coca-Cola, whatever it is. And I say, well, that's liquid, but that's not water. And water is a different thing. Water is a specific thing for the body, and it's biological for you need it. So the thing is, but I drink diet. Well, diet it doesn't matter to me. I mean, if it's diet or it has sugar, it's so acidic that one glass of Coca-Cola needs 31 glasses of structured water, 8.5 to 9 pH, 31 glasses to neutralize. Now, we know that acidity in the body creates a lot of problems, The main thing is inflammation. And also, when people think that this is water, actually, they create an environment that is pro-cancer, because cancer is acidic, anaerobic, and that's the best way to start changing cells into cancerous cells. So one of the things that everybody should know is the importance of water and the importance of structured water. Now, now we have some technologies that are related to water, so we can install that in our houses, or you can have it with you. I have one structured water unit that I use when I travel, and it goes with me everywhere I go. And I have another one installed in my house in the pipeline that comes from the city. So my whole house has structured water for shower, for cooking, for everything. I also have another filter which is changing the pH. So I can change the pH depending on the food that I'm eating that day, because it's not one size fits all. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand. For example, you have to be very careful about the pH of the water. The structured water unit usually has a pH that is a little higher than alkaline, which is 7.5 to 8. And the other thing that it has is negative ions that we need. And I will show you something. Then you can see that in the chart, all the water that our body uses for every organ of the body. It's just a lot of water. I mean, we need water. And we are dehydrated. The majority of people are dehydrated. So this is interesting. Water is the lifeblood of the earth. When water is healthy, it has a complex structure that enables it to communicate information, carry energy and nutrients, promote healing, self-cleansing, and the discharging of waste, which is the most important thing, the discharging of waste. We have too much waste right now inside. Now, that's Masaru Emoto. I met him a couple of years ago. He passed away. And I did a couple of interviews, and he showed, what the structured water unit looks like. Okay, and structured water has the ability to record information from the environment, information from us, our intentions and everything. And he has an amazing book about the quality and all the elements that the water can bring to the body and how to charge the body with this information. But that's for structured water, not for any water. Okay, so this is a case where you can see what structured water does when it has negative ions, oxygen, and is the right molecule size. What you see there is what is called rouleau. Rouleau is when the blood cells get piled up like coins because they don't have the electrical charge that they need, and so they stick with each other, and that's really bad for health. Now, this is what happens 15 minutes later of drinking structured water, because the electrical charge immediately separates all the cells, blood cells, and it brings more information into the blood. That's healthy. So we can see it. I mean, it's clear as water. I mean, it's something that everybody should know, because actually, if you know this, you will drink more water every day consciously. Okay, instead of drinking, a lot of coffee and sodas and that kind of stuff. Soda is one of the worst things that you can drink. Now, I will show you a couple of things about cases, before and after. I always do, as I told you before, 4 readings. One of the things that we do with BioWell is when the client comes in, we do 2 readings, one after another. So we have 2 readings. Then we move the heart. We're doing some kind of exercise. It could be sit-ups or push-ups or whatever the person, depending on the age of the person. And we measure when the person is agitated, when the heart is agitated. And then when the person goes into a calm place, we do another one. And then we compare everything. Now, the heartbeat being accelerated and then coming back to normal gives us the state of the homeostasis of the person, the state of, we have some people that, that are couch potatoes, they never move. Okay, for those people, when they exercise and they move the heart, they don't recover fast. We can see that they need maybe 1 hour to go back to the beginning of the session, where the energy was at the beginning of the session. Now, when the person is used to move the body and to do exercise, we can see that immediately in 2-3 minutes, it goes down, and we can read the energy field, and sometimes the energy field is a little higher than before, maybe 1 more joule, and usually if the person is used to do exercise, we can also see that the chakra system moves a little bit to the center because the person is feeling good, is feeling that is doing something that is associated with something good. So those are the 2 things. The other thing that we can see is also the balance between the different organs in the body. Now, this is the first reading of this person. You can see this is a man between, all the cases are between 40 and 50 years old, all men. You can see 47 joules is okay, but you can see a lot of interruptions and little flares. It's not very solid. Usually that is related, again, to the quality of water and the amount of water that this person is drinking. This is the chakra system. You can see on top it says alignment 88%, and the average energy is 4.3, which is good because it's between 4 and 6. So and the alignment is not bad. 88% is pretty good, but it could be better. And we can see now the balance. And the balance is telling me that the person is under stress, is almost in high level. You can see the first line is in 4. From 3 to 4 is a higher stress, and then you have from 40 to 50, to 4 to 5 is higher. In this case, it's in the border, but it's pretty high. Okay, so now we did the second reading after that. What happened between this and this reading is the person drank 1 full glass of water, a structured water. It was neutral, almost 8.0. And we did the 15-minute heart math coherence. Now, this is the improvement in the field, in the energy field. You can see it went up 50 joules, which is very, very good. Actually, I mean, moving that much energy in less than 1 hour is a lot of energy. You can see the chakra system went from 88 to 90, which is a little better. It was not bad, so this person was not into a big emotional problem, but there was stress about something else in his life. And then the stress went down more than half a point. It was in 4, now it's in 335. And that was in less than an hour. Now, what happened with this person if he does this for a week, every day, several times a day? It will change completely his health. I mean, completely for the better. This is another case. The first reading, it shows 56, pretty high energy, a little cuts on the leg, on the front of the urogenital system, some flares in the head. We can see this is a more emotional situation. We have an 84% alignment. The size is good, 5.2. It's a lot of energy, but the distribution is a kind of, not that good. Very high stress, okay, 433. And we can see that it's a relationship between the stress chart and the chakra system, okay? It always reflects what's happening with one or the other. Now, the second reading, after the same protocol with the water and also the heart math session, 15-minute session, it went up 57 joules, and you can see that now the distribution the distribution doesn't have any cuts. So it's solid, it's going around, and it's very well distributed. And that's less than an hour. I'm talking about very, very short period of time. So we can do this in a regular basis. I mean, you can fix so many problems. I mean, without having to take, things that are very, very dangerous for you. And the chakra system went pretty good. I mean, actually it went really good in less than 1 hour. So the level of stress, it was close to 5. Now is 348. I don't know if it's 348 in just one session. So this is an amazing change for somebody that is being, in a very high stress level, and that can kill you. I mean, that's cause actually, And the third one, again, you can see the flares in some parts of the chart. You can see the head on the right side. In that part, there's missing energy. It's a very low energy there. And the chakra system is low. You can see the size that is smaller than before, 81% alignment. And it's a little bit of stress. So one of the things that we have to do with the client is we have to ask questions before the session, because everything is showing something, but you don't know exactly what it is unless you know if the person is taking some medicine, is doing exercise, is having some kind of problem already, some physical problem that they know of, what kind of medicine they're taking. For example, I had clients that came and I checked the chart, the chakra, and they are like, all aligned is like a guru. And I said, it's impossible. This person, I know the person has a lot of problems. This is unusual. And I asked, are you taking any medicine? Did you take anything before coming to the session? He says, yes, Prozac. Now, Prozac is working on your emotions. So it's like, it's like anesthesia to the system, to the emotional system. Now, the system is, sleeping, and you can see that, oh, wow, this is a guru. No, it's not. So the next time I said, no, don't take the pill before you come to the session. Let's measure your energy the way it is, and then take it later on, and the change is amazing. What you see is the real person, which is not good, actually, because actually many of those drugs are hiding things, but they are not, curing anything. They're hiding things. They're changing the effect, but you didn't change the cause. That's it. It's going to come back. There's no question about that. So the second reading was a lot better. You can see the head, for example, on the right side, you can see the head doesn't have that problem anymore. Now the energy field is completely even. And the chart changed absolutely, it's amazing how it changed. And less than 1 hour, again, and look at that. It went to normal state of stress. Now, this case is a different case because this guy was doing ayahuasca every day for a week in Peru. Okay? So, I did ayahuasca and I felt really bad and I was sick for a week because I couldn't purge. So I was completely intoxicated and I don't want to try it anymore. But anyway, for some people work, for some people don't. But I can see the energy field, what happens, okay? This is a mess, Okay, this person is, even though he has a lot of energy, you can see that. Flares everywhere, breaks. I mean, this is not good. Now, let's see the state of the mind. Okay? So, he was seeing monsters and things and kaleidoscopes and dragons and I don't know. And I don't know why he did it for a week, but because it's not pleasant. But that's what he was doing. And see the survival chakra. He was so afraid of life for what was happening to him when he was in those trips that, look at that. I mean, he was in survival mode, 100%. Okay? Now, the balance, look at that. Look at the stress level. Yeah, because he was always, haunted by these monsters. I mean, it was terrible for this person. I mean, he had other problems. He was, he had a problem with the marriage, I imagine, because if you're in ayahuasca every day, your spouse is going to run away. It's going to be impossible to live with. But anyway, so he was having a lot of problems, Now, this is what happens afterwards when we did the session. It improved, but not too much, because he was completely intoxicated. Okay, this person needs at least 6 months of structured water, deep meditation, Honso. I don't know. I can do a lot of stuff with this person, but it's not going to, react positively very fast. I mean, it's impossible because he was really bad. Even though the energy is not bad, it was a little better, but it's way too much work. But the chakra system changed really a lot, which is the first step, because emotionally he felt much better. Okay, he felt like he was more in charge. And look at the first chakra. It went to the center, so he was in charge of the vehicle. So that's the main thing that happened in that session. And he felt really, really good, and he said, okay, I understand now. The main thing with this, and let me show you also, the stress level didn't change much because actually he was intoxicated, completely intoxicated, and his brain was not working properly, okay? So for this person, you need at least 3 months of therapy, and you have to do a lot of things during those 3 months. We are talking about, we are related to the environment. And there are 2 different environments. The external environment, which is food, air, water, relationships, and everything. And the internal environment. What do I think? How I understand the world, the perception of the world. Bruce talks about that, and it's amazing what he does with this information because it showed me, I changed so many things in my life. I was very sick until I was 35 years old. My mother was a hypochondriac, so I was always sick. And the only way for me to relate with her was when I was a kid, is being sick, because my mother was nurturer when I was sick, and when I was not sick, she was like a sergeant. And so I was sick 4 times a year. So that's why I'm into health and into spirituality and all this stuff. The thing is, the internal environment is so important. That's why hard math helped me a lot to understand where my mind is and what I'm focused on. And when you go into the Honso, this is related to frequencies. The moment that you are in Honso, and I can see the sine waves in the chart, you are in theta. Theta is between 4 and 8 hertz. It's the most creative state of the mind. Every time I'm a musician originally and also TV producer. I produce a lot of albums and everything. So I'm in entertainment. Now I do an edutainment with this information. So I did a documentary, and I'm working with Bruce, and I'm working with other organizations. Every time I try to do something, I don't try from the vehicle. This is my vehicle, okay? This is not me. The vehicle has somebody that is driving it. It's my soul. It's something else, completely different than the vehicle. Now, when you do things from the vehicle, you're pushing. You are trying to control. You can't. There's no way. The body cannot create anything. The body can experience. It's the only way the soul can experience in the third dimensional world. It's dual. Everything is dual. Nothing is absolute. So everything is good or bad, but nothing is just one thing in this realm of the body. Now, every time I try my whole life to do things from the body, and it never worked. So the only way that I work now is when I go into coherence and I know the feeling, I ask the right question. What is it that I want to do? I ask the right question. And the question has to be an open question. How can I? What should I? No, why is this happening to me? That's a closed question. It's not a question, it's an affirmation. So every time somebody has a disease, they say, why is this cancer happening to me? Wrong question. I can tell you so many different answers, approving the cancer that, it doesn't matter. How can I get rid of this cancer will be a much better question. And then when you are in between 4 and 8 hertz, there's something called the circadian rhythm that between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning, you are in a shallow sleep where you're not deep sleep, it's shallow sleep. As the sleep at night goes into stages. One of the stages is between 3:30 and 4. If you do the right question in a state of coherence in theta waves, and it's the last thing you do at night, and you ask the right question of what you want to solve in your life or create in your life and bring into this reality, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning, you will have the wake-up call. And you will have exactly what you need to do. That's a quantum field bringing the same information that you were asking for. This is a frequency. We are radio stations. We are sending and receiving the same frequency. The problem is that we are changing the frequency every 2 seconds. So if I put the radio station and I say, well, I want to listen to classical music, and suddenly I put the wrong dial and it's rap, what do we do with that information? We criticize rap. No, you change the dial. I mean, rap has, the right to exist. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Choose something different. So change the dial. Go to the radio that you want to connect to, connect with. So it's up to you, not up to whatever you're receiving. It's whatever you are sending. And this is a state where you can be in charge of whatever you're sending. You know what you're sending and why. So instead of trying to convince everybody, go into coherence, go into theta, ask the right question, wait for the answer. When I did the documentary, after I was working maybe for 8 years, I was gathering information, doing interviews everywhere I could. I went to Hay House, I went to all the different events like this, in the United States, in other countries. And I met Bruce, Greg Braden, Lynn McTaggart, Marianne Williamson, all of them. And at some point, I had maybe 100 different interviews. I put it on a website called Creando Tu Vida, which is creating your life in Spanish. And that one was for the Hispanic people to understand what was going on here, because actually we have too much information here, but not a lot in Latin America. So that was my mission. So at some point I said, well, I have all this information, what can I do with this, And I asked the question. And the question was a documentary. I'd never done a documentary before. And I didn't know how to edit video or anything. I had this, but it was all guerrilla filmmaking. It was with one camera, one microphone, talking to somebody, in an aisle or somewhere, in a hotel. So what I did is I asked the question, documentary, okay, next night, what kind of documentary? And the word was, your life, your creation. Okay, your life, your creation. Okay, what can I do with that information? Again, question after question after question. This is an open question. You need to know. You want to know. And also the feeling of wanted, that information. And then it says, your life, your creation is a documentary about science and spirituality. Okay, perfect. I started cutting, and out of the 100, I put 27 together, okay, between Spanish-speaking people and English-speaking people. So the thing is, I worked on that for 3 more years. And I had these 27 people, but I had all these chunks of information, but I mean, it was impossible for me to put it together in a line where it has, point A, B, and C, and it has some trajectory of information that makes sense. So I asked the question again, how can I finish this? Because I didn't know, and I was at the point of almost just breaking myself into two because I didn't know what to do. And it was that morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, it came all the titles, 13 titles. And the thing that you have to do at that time in the morning is record it or write it. Because he said, this is great, in the morning you won't remember, it's not yours. And it's not gonna be stored in your brain. It's something that happens at that moment and you have to grab it in some way, okay? I always have a recorder, but now with the phone it's easier, but before it was not that easy. So I always have something to record or write. I wrote everything, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I went to my studio, I put all the chunks, and that was the documentary. So I always say I didn't do it. I was the translator between one idea into another idea and bringing that information into this realm. I'm working now on a new one about energy, vibration, and all this that we have here is part of that, okay? And frequencies. I'm working with sound frequencies. I'm working with sound frequencies with veterans. Veterans, when they are at the moment of passing, they get into panic attacks, especially the ones that are religious. They feel that they're going to hell because they kill people in the war. So the moment they are almost leaving the body, they just grab, the solid as much as they can to stay here. Now, we worked on a bed with sound. It has subwoofers inside and also headphones, binaural. And we work with different frequencies, mainly the frequency of the heart and the brain. And the experience was a relief of 80% of the panic attack, so the person was calmer and could pass, in a different state of mind. So that's one of the things that I think we have to really explore deeply because it's amazing what we can do with sound. I'm as a musician, I'm a professional musician. I'm a drummer. Drum is the masculine part of frequency, and sound, the harmonics are the feminine. So both together create a whole thing. And understanding that is basic today. It's beside water, rhythm and sound is something that we have to really explore deeply. And also frequencies of light. The main thing that I'm doing right now is working with 432 hertz instead of 844, 440. And you can see the effect that it does when you see, cymatics can show you exactly the pattern of the 432 and the 440. And you can see the mandala that creates in a plate is amazing in 432 and is blurry in 440. And that reflects in the cell. In the liquid part of the cell is vibrating all over your body. Now, there's a problem with frequencies right now that I measure a lot of these things because they send me the beds and I go before and after with bio and I said, this put me in more stress than before because you are putting music. Music is not a frequency. Music is a bunch of frequencies at the same time. It's touching everything. So when we talk about frequencies, it's just one note and you can go up to a fifth. And octaves, because the lowest octave is a physical body, and the higher octaves are going to subtle bodies of energy, and influence different things in your body. So you have to go for the lower note, and then if you want to see something else, you use the fifth. For example, if you are in C, you go to G, but you don't play three notes because a triad is three frequencies at the same time, and maybe one of those frequencies is not working. So they send me, for example, songs. Oh, this gave me this collection of songs, and they are for, I don't know, activating the heart chakra. The heart chakra was everywhere. It showed nothing that was really working. And I said, don't use music. So every time you work with frequencies and they send you songs, don't use them, because that's not the way to work with frequency. Frequency is one note at a time. That's why we have 7 chakras, and each chakra is vibrating in one of those notes. Okay, but it's related to 432, not to 440, and that is a completely different topic that I'm not going to talk about that, but the thing is 432 and 444 is the other one, and it's related to the equation of Tesla of the 369, okay? 432 is 9, 444 is 3, so 440 is 8, and 8 was created long time ago. There are 2 different versions. One, it was by the Nazis, and the other one was by the church. So, but we are not going to talk about that. The thing is, we don't want any problems with that. So the thing is, what should we use? 432, okay? Now, there's an app on your phone where you can download, and you can put the music that you listen from Spotify or Apple Music in 432. It changes the whole thing, and you can listen in 432. So do that, and you will feel, it's subtle, but you will feel better, okay? Now, the last thing that I want to show you is something that happened to me when I had COVID, the famous COVID. Now, this is how I was before COVID. You can see that the energy was really good. The chakra system, amazing. I was meditating. Everything was fine. No stress. That was me, okay? Now, after that, I got COVID. Okay. Now you can see, the headache that I had was so strong that I couldn't open my eyes, and I was vomiting. It was like I was in the Titanic, And you can see in the left side, you can see the break on top of my head. It was terrible. It was like I drank one full, bottle of vodka. Now, you can see in the lower back that, there was like a huge flare. And in the front, on the right side, no energy in the prostate, okay? That was urogenital and prostate. And in the back, because there's a meridian that unifies the back, the lower back, with the frontal, which is, in men, is the prostate. At that time, I had a little bit of prostatitis. I was using, I don't remember exactly, there was a little infection, but it was nothing major. When this happened, and I'll show you, the chakra system went, pretty crazy. When this happened, I couldn't pee anymore, okay? It was an inflammation on the prostate that was so bad that I had a catheter for a couple of days. And the pain in my lower back, it was unbearable. Now, of course, that, changed my emotions and everything, and the stress level went up like crazy, okay? I was like that for 10 days. The first week was like that, then it started getting better. And what I used was structured water every day, more than a gallon a day. I was using also Gerson therapy. I don't know if you're familiar with Gerson therapy and coffee enemas to detoxify the liver and the kidneys. I was using frequencies, Rife frequencies. Do you know what Rife frequencies are? Royal Rife. Well, there's a machine. I have the machine, and I use the frequencies on the prostate and also on my head. And I use also solfeggio frequencies, especially the 2 lowest and the 2 highest. And I was using that every day, 3 times a day, okay? Now, this is what happened almost 2 weeks later, without any medication, okay? This is the state I was maybe 12 days after. Went back to normal. You can see the head completely. Look at the chakra system. and look at the state of the stress. So for me, this was an amazing class for myself, okay? I understood so many things about how the energy field works, what it's telling me. One of the things that I think is very important to understand is that a disease is not, you're not a victim of the disease. The disease is a warning sign. It's somebody telling you you're doing something wrong. You have to, change something in your life. It could be some habit you have, it could be nutrition, it could be a relationship, it could be your job, it could be many things. The thing that we have to do when somebody tells us, that you have this disease or that disease is understanding, okay, how is this affecting me? Why is this affecting me? And this is one of the tools that I use for that. BioWell gives me that information. Now, HeartMath gives me the possibility to calm down and to be in theta, and in theta look for the solution. And structural water is charging my body and cleaning my body from inside out. So these three things, plus earthing that the Dr. Rubik mentioned, I've been working with earthing for a long time now, and as I told you, I have this pad where I put the mouse, and I'm discharging all the time the EMFs. Earthing is essential. It's essential because the EMFs are killing us. And as she said also, I'm using everything with cords. Everybody's using this white Bluetooth from Apple, and yeah, they look cool, whatever. They are killing you, and they are creating a lot of tumors in the temporal area, inside in the ear, and also behind the eye. I have a lot of cases and young people, in the 20s, and they are always with this on, listening to music every day. I mean, it's terrible what's going on, and nobody says anything. I use the phone with a speaker. I never put it in my ear, and when I listen to music, just the earphones with a cable. Yeah, I look older. Yeah, it's okay. I don't care. But it's I'm saving myself from cancer. I mean, I'm saving myself from different problems. And from not thinking properly, because actually, it changes the way you think. And if it changes the way you think, it changes your emotions and then your chemicals. So it's a process that we have to stop at some point. Okay, because otherwise, we are not going to enjoy 80, 90 years, 100 years of life. You're going to be a victim of that. I lost my parents a couple of years ago, and they were trapped in a body that didn't work anymore. The vehicle didn't work, but their mind was working. And I cannot think about anything worse than that. To be trapped in a body that cannot work anymore, but the brain is still thinking, is still, analyzing things. The suffering is terrible. And I always remember in the book, Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda, he was 62 years old when he said to their followers, from this samadhi, I'm not coming back. He was in perfect health. And that hit me in a way, it was like, whoa. He said, that from this samadhi, which is deep meditation, I'm not coming back. He decided when he was going to leave the physical body, the vehicle. He just left the vehicle and didn't come back. What a different way of dying. What we call dying actually is parking the vehicle and just keep going with your frequency, with your energy, with your soul. So this is the message that I have for you today. Thank you.